So, what has been the biggest concern with the capergoline? Because you've had to had increased doses and
Hmm.
increased doses and increased
Hmm.
doses. Is it how expensive is it?
So out of pocket cost is about $1,500 for a 3 month supply.
Wow.
Thankfully, insurance at the time made me pay 15.
Okay, and that was through TRICARE.
Mm-hmm. That was a
Okay.
tracker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the because you were on your dad's insurance
Mm-hmm.
through the military,
Mm-hmm.
can you just kind of tell me like how that has affected your life, like having to be on that type of thing to get
Mm-hmm.
it for that low
Mm-hmm.
cost?
Well, my wife now, we had to, when we got engaged, we had to set our marriage date for a year and a half later after I turned 26 because if I got married and Tricare knew that I was married, then I could be dropped. Which fortunately they never found out. So
Okay, and now that you are married
hmm
and you have
work insurance,
you work insurance through your
hmm
own work,
right?
um, how expensive is it now?
It's somewhere between $200 and $300 usually for a 3 month supply. Sometimes it's even more than that depending on what the market value is.
Okay. So that's a lot of expense for you.
Oh yeah.
And then how often do you have to get the MRIs?
Initially, I was getting an MRI every year.
Okay. And that was when you were still on TRICARE?
Right, right.
Okay.
And then
And
once I
how
got,
much was that copay for you when you were on
I don't know
TRICARE?
because my parents still paid it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
typically at the time, TRICARE was paying roughly 80% of everything,
Okay.
at least 80% of everything. So it wasn't much at all in the grand scheme of things. Um, Now that I'm on my own insurance, it is at least $2,000 out of pocket. And
Woo!
that's assuming I haven't met my deductible.
Okay. And how much is your deductible?
Since my wife and I are on the same plan, it's $4,000.
Wow. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo! And tell me how this has how when you were in school and things, because you were working
Mm-hmm.
toward your doctorate in physical
Mm-hmm.
therapy, and kind of discuss how that has
Yeah.
affected.
So before I moved to Kansas City, I was getting an MRI. I started out getting an MRI once a year, and then they moved me to once every year and a half once the tumor had shrunk down a little bit. When I moved to Kansas City, I was still having to get an MRI every year and a half, and then on top of that, I was seeing an endocrinologist still once a year. So and because of how KU Med here is, I had to schedule my endocrinology appointments at least 6 months in advance. And so I didn't always know what my schedule was going to be like in 6 months with classes. So I kind of had to just, schedule my appointment and hope that I didn't miss class. Fortunately, in my PT program, we had Fridays off from classes. So I tried to schedule it for a Friday, and if I couldn't, fortunately, my instructors were really good about letting me, not getting too upset if I showed up late to a class or if I missed a class because I was at an appointment. So, but it was still tough though because if I missed a class, then I'd have to get caught up, and um, it just worked so much nicer if I could get the appointment on Friday when I knew I didn't have classes.